Hello, everybody. Chasing up New News Revolution Cave. Third straight day of 95-degree weather. Lovely. Haven't felt my best today mentally. No real reason. Just kind of melancholy, as they say. And so I thought, well, what am I going to talk about? I'm waiting for the Turtle sewer playset to get re-released from Amazon, and there's no confirmed date in sight, and that's depressing. So I thought, well, come on, we've got to do something that cheers you up. And I figured it's time to start the next Wrestling Figure Revisited series. We spent however many months doing the LJN Revisited. We've already done bendies. We've already talked about thumb wrestlers. So I thought, let's do the AWA Remco. So this is the kickoff of AWA Remco's Revisited. A closer look. And it'll be in the same format as the LJNs. Now, people have asked, what about the Slammies? The Slammies are coming. The Slammies are coming. And people have asked, I thought you were making a Piper's Pit. I am. I just need to find the motivation for it. I have all the wood cut. I have the Scottish the fabric, the plaid fabric. So I will do it. I will do it. So we're just going to jump from LJN to Remco, but those two LJN things are still coming. So the Remcos, folks, look, again, there's always debate about when were they created, when were they on store shelves. We were too young to know when they were on store shelves. As adults, I guess we could go back and do some research. I don't know what came first. I don't know if the Remcos were out before the LJNs or vice versa. We have decided, we have come to terms that LJNs were released, at least the first 5, somewhere around March or so of 1985. But were the Remcos a little sooner? Were they same time? Were they a little later? We don't know. We don't quite know. Or maybe some of you do, and I'm sure some of you will put it in the comment section. I remember getting the Road Warriors for Easter because they were in my Easter basket. So if that was April of 85, that'd have been around the same time that the LJNs came out. If that was April of 84, that wouldn't make much sense. And April of 86 wouldn't make any sense either, just logistically. So it would have had to have been April, Easter of 85 when I got the Road Warriors. But I really don't think that the Road Warriors were my first wrestling figures. I had LJNs before then, so maybe March of 1985. Oh, okay, dog. Maybe March of 1985. I got Hogan and Andre. So then April of 85, I got the Road Warriors for Easter. I don't know. I don't remember. Were the Road Warriors my first AWA figures? I don't know. I don't remember. I've always loved this line. I have always loved this line. I don't care that they all have the same body type, except for the fat wrestlers like Abdullah the Butcher, who still doesn't have the right body type. When Stan Hansen and Abdullah the Butcher have the same body type, you know something's not quite right with the line, or something is quite right with the line, right? This was 1985. We're not going to freak out about stuff that the kids of today freak out about. So all of these figures had either the overly shredded muscular look or the flabby body, as it was called. Some had both. like Jimmy Garvin and Terry Gordy, had both the flabby body and the ripped body. They were the first figures to come with cloth accessories. I know that. They are ahead of their time in terms of that. The accessories were great. The clothing was great. The championship belts left a little to be desired, especially since they were modeled after the NWA title. And these are AWA figures. And talking to Remco's former employee, Steve Rosenthal, this was not a Power Pro Wrestling USA thing. This was an AWA. They went to Gagne's, both Gagne's, and made deals with them. So why is the NWA belt? Why is the AWA belt that comes with Rick Martel? Why is it modeled after Ric Flair's belt? Why are the Road Warriors tag team titles modeled after the NWA World Heavyweight title? Don't know what was going into the discussions. Don't know what the talks were about. Again, we could say, well, why was Abdullah the Butcher and Carlos Colon and don't leave. I know that there'll be some people who aren't a part of the channel that leave comments that'll say, well, Carlos Colon actually technically wrestled in the NWA. I don't care. Carlos Colon and Abdullah the Butcher didn't belong in an AWA toy line. Thrilled that they're there. Great, love it. But on paper, it doesn't make sense. So I need this line to make sense to me, right? If it's an AWA exclusive line, we shouldn't be getting Ric Flair. We shouldn't be getting Carlos Colon, right? But I'm glad. I'm thrilled. I just would love to know the mystery of the toy line. And when I talked to Steve Rosenthal, I don't think he was... I mean, it had been 40 years, so I don't know if he was as filled with stories or facts as he would have been 40 years ago. I did have a chance to talk to Greg Gagne, but we were talking about Power Town USA figures, and I didn't get a chance to ask him about the AWA figures. Anyway, let's take a closer look at them, shall we? That's what you tuned in for. Any new people, I love it when they leave the comments, just show the figures already. No, that's not how we do it here on the New 80s Revolution. You sit and you listen to me talk about nonsense for 7 minutes and 49 seconds. Then you get the figures. That's how we do it here. Anyway, the first two that I'm going to show you, and I'll probably show you two at a time because that's how they came out until the last series. But the first two I'm going to show you are Baron von Raschke and Rick Martel. Now, Raschke is... again, the muscular body. And when I do the closer look, I'm not going to take their clothes off because I don't want to put their clothes back on. But Raschke is one of the most unique figures in the line because he's the only one that has the claw hand. He's the only figure in the entire AWA line that has the claw hand because his finishing move was the claw. I think that's outstanding. I think that's wonderful. We're not talking about 2000s here, folks. We're talking about 1984, right? When these things were first talked about, first created, maybe first protos, whatever. So for him to have the claw hand is actually pretty advanced for toys in 1984. Think about it. Every figure was exactly the same. G.I. Joes were exactly the same. Star Wars figures, same size. Here we've got an open hand for the claw. That's pretty awesome. The cloth robe is tremendous, and we've got Rick Martel. My Rick Martel is wearing the NWA AWA belt. Lovely white jacket, great figures. Now again, all the same bodies, but man, are these fun to play with. I mean it. I think these are really fun figures to play with. And because it's the right articulation for me, right? I'm playing with solid blocks of rubber with the LJNs, but these have some articulation, but not a strange amount. And the limbs are still pretty solid, even, so when you pulled these things out of the package and you threw a punch, the waist didn't spin around, the arm didn't spin around, unless you played with these to death. Then, of course, they would break down and they'd be loose. And that's when I would lose interest in the figures, when they were overly loose and impossible to play with. But these figures out of the package are very tight and very fun to play with. I had tons of fun playing in my little AWA ring with my AWA figures. A ton of fun playing with them. So much fun playing with these. Obviously not to the level of LJNs, but a great deal of fun playing with the AWA Remco figures. Never met either fella. Baron von Raschke's still around at 170, I think. And Rick Martel, of course, is still around, but never had any opportunities to meet them at Comic-Cons or anything like that. I don't know what Raschke's health is like these days. You never really see him on the wrestling convention list or anything like that. I watched AWA. I watched a ton of AWA as a kid. And I knew what I was watching. I was following along with the product. And Rick Martel, fantastic world champion. And Baron von Raschke I always had a bit of a problem with. I never liked him. I thought that he was extremely odd and just misshapen and did not look like a wrestler. He, no disrespect. As I proceed to be disrespectful. Just a very strange looking person. Body. Strange looking body. Very tall and concave. Chest was like, and just odd. And always looked like he was 70. Yeah, Baron von Raschke, very, very strange looking wrestler. And I never bought into Baron von Raschke ever. But Rick Martel, good champion. Stan Hansen, great champion. We'll talk about that when we get to the Stan Hansen figure. Anyway, let's take a closer look at Rick Martel and Baron von Raschke, the Remcos. All right, folks, here we are. Rick Martel. Now, we're not going to really be judging faces here that much. Because if we did, we'd be upset that Rick Martel has black eyes, black eyeballs. We're just not going to care about that. And there are some good face sculpts in these figures. We'll get to those when we get to those, but the Road Warriors look tremendous. But there we have Rick Martel with his black eyeballs and sort of that Ken doll smile. Shredded body, of course, white jacket, red trunks, black boots, NWA style belt. No back design on the jacket or anything like that, just your standard white jacket. And here we have the Baron with, again, that's not really Baron, but it's just kind of a bald-guy's face. Do they all have black eyes? I don't know, I'd have to look. Again, shredded body on Baron von Raschke, which is just sort of ridiculous. But there's that claw hand. Did they make a flabby Baron? And if, well, you couldn't just do a body swap because you'd have to have the claw hand. But they really probably should have made a flabby Baron. Red rope with that high black collar. That's great. And red robe, I said. I think I said red rope. All black with the black tie around the robe. I think, am I wrong? Was the color scheme reversed? Did Baron wear a black robe with the red hood? Did he wear a robe at all in the AWA? I'd have to go back and take a gander, but there we have them, folks. The extremely muscular Rick Martel taking on the extremely muscular and very attractive, bald and beautiful Baron von Raschke. Look out for that claw. It'll get you every time if his 12-pack of abs don't get you first. All right, folks, next time we will look at those Road Warriors that I mentioned that I got for Easter. So that is up next. We'll take a look at the Tag Team Road Warriors, complete with NWA World Title. See you next time. Good night.